All right, grade eights, hope you're doing well. This is just a quick video to give you a sense of what the time capsule assignment this week is all about. So if you go onto Files in Teams and you open up the folder called Humanities 8 Week 2, you'll see a file called Time Capsule Assignment. If you click on that to open it, you'll see a Word document that looks like this. Now at the top, there's a little review, hopefully, of the different types of evidence that we talk about in Humanities 8. So there are two types of evidence. When we're looking at a historical event, there are two types of evidence we can look at. First, there's primary sources. So a primary source, if we were studying, let's say, the Second World War, a primary source might be a letter sent by a soldier that was fighting in the war, or it might be a newspaper article from the time period, or a photograph. Those are primary sources because they're created by people who were there. It's firsthand information. A secondary source is something that's produced after the event. So when we read the textbook in class, that's a secondary source. It's collected primary sources, but it is written by somebody or a group of people that were not actually there. Now, right now, we are living through a pretty crazy time, right? This pandemic that we're all experiencing is an historical event. And so we have the chance as people living through this event to capture history and to think about history as it's unfolding in front of us. Now, a time capsule, if you're not aware, a time capsule is a container that can be filled with primary sources, so things that are from a time period. So what we are going to be creating as a class is a time capsule that captures what life was like or is like in the early 2020s. So this says here, imagine that our class has decided to create a time capsule to help our future selves explain and remember what it was like to be alive during the early months of 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic. So each of you are being asked to come up with one primary source, one item or object or picture or drawing or video or letter that we can add to our time capsule as a class. So if we scroll down here, we'll see an overview of the task that you are going to be working on. And obviously, the first thing that you need to do is to find or create one primary source to include in our time capsule. So it could be an item, it could be an object, a picture, a drawing, letter, map, news article, etc. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to analyze and explain the historical significance of your chosen primary source in a paragraph. So when we think about historical significance, is we want to think about what does it show us? What does this primary source show us about what was happening and why was it important? So there are two sort of sections that you're going to be looking at here. Section A says, does your chosen primary source help us understand some of the consequences COVID-19 has had on our society? If so, what are these consequences? Pick one to discuss in detail. So maybe your primary source, I'm just thinking of my life. If I had to go shopping at Costco, I could take a picture of the lineup outside of Costco. And that might be my primary source. And it could lead to some interesting discussion about the different sort of impacts that COVID-19 has had on people in our society. Secondly, does your chosen primary source teach us something about our society? Does it help us to identify changes in our society? And if so, what are those changes? So as you scroll down, you'll see a table that's going to help you go through these questions, and you'll write a paragraph underneath.